So today I want to talk about PSO2 and my current dilemma with this game. And it's not necessarily doom and gloom, but there are some things I want to talk about regarding the future of this game in NA or global. And I notice a lot of people in game talk about this game dying or the game is going to die. And I know with every MMO there's always that one person at least that swears that the game is going to die. And there was a bit of a player drop off a couple of weeks ago. And let me tell you a few reasons why that probably is. So first off, PSO2 is an 8-year-old game. We all know that. But that's not going to stop many people from coming to play this game. Despite that, a lot of people really love this game regardless. And I think this game aged like fine wine. It's a really good game. The issue is that the game has a lot of competition now. Like tons of competition. And it's really hard to fight for people's attention now. Now more than ever. A lot of people don't have a lot of people have short attention spans, pretty much. So it's really hard to keep people captivated in content with these games. And a lot of people don't like to stick to one MMO anymore, you know? So, or one game for that matter. A lot of people don't like that. They like to hop between different games. A lot of people are flavor of the month kind of people. And that's not necessarily bad or anything, but one, this game is not dying. I can tell you right now that the game definitely gets more lively on weekends. And on weekdays, usually at nighttime, at least around Eastern time, there's quite a bit of people in there in the blocks. At least on ship 2, the ship I'm on. And the game seems fine. Like, it has a pretty decent player base. It's not necessarily dying. Now, I know when PC first came out on NA, almost every block was full to the brim. And that's to be expected. You know, a lot of people came and tried this game out. And a lot of people probably figured that this isn't the game for them. Or people are taking a break and waiting for episode 6. Or waiting for new Genesis. There are so many reasons as to why people are taking a break from this game. Or why people stop playing the game altogether. There's so many reasons. But the game is doing pretty well for itself, to be honest. And I don't think anyone expected this to be the next FF14 because Phantasy Star doesn't even have the brand recognition that Final Fantasy even has. So can we really expect it to do that well? Now, I heard some people saying that new Genesis won't bring in much new players. And when I heard someone say that, I thought it was probably the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because you have shiny new graphics. The interest in Phantasy Star Online is already there, especially in the West. You have open world maps. Yes, we still have a lobby system in a sense, but the maps are open world, very similar to Monster Hunter World. Even though those maps aren't open world, they are big sandbox maps. And that's what New Genesis is going to have. And then on top of that, you mix that with the robust character creation that PSO2 already has. And then the original PSO2 is getting the same graphics update that New Genesis is getting. Like, this is amazing. And this is like almost unprecedented for an MMO to do. It's something that a lot of people have been talking about, like Square Enix maybe integrating both their Final Fantasy MMOs into one, in a sense, on one client, and then having to pay a sub fee for like one sub fee up front, $15 a month, to play your game of choice, FF11 or FF14. You know, and then whatever else they plan to do for an MMO next, if they even do one. So this is really good. It's going to bring in a lot of players. I don't think it's going to be the next FF14, like I said, but I think the game is definitely gonna bump up in the popularity charts for MMOs. I can tell you that for a goddamn fact. I don't know for how long that'll be, but if New Genesis is good, I think like it's gonna revitalize the game. Like, in my honest opinion. So yeah, I mean, if you've been thinking the same thing, or maybe you want to play this game but you're afraid that it might die, I personally don't think it's going to die. I think it's going to do really well. The game still does well in Japan, and even some people in Japan say the game is dying, even though, you know, the older a game gets, the more it's going to lose players. You know, that's true with anything, even WoW. Even though WoW is still on top, it still lost a lot of players because it's a really old game. You know, but because there's just so many people playing it, it doesn't really affect the game that much because there's still many people playing the game. And then at the end of the day, graphics for current PSO2, if that's a reason why you don't want to play it, I can understand that. But just know that next year, by spring, none of that will matter because the game is gonna look good as shit. Both games, New Genesis and the original PSO2. So graphics, that entire conversation goes out the window when that happens. So I don't see the issue. I think the game looks fine. It looks pretty decent for its time. And the only thing I personally can't stand is how our hands don't move, or fingers. That does get on my nerve at times. When a character points and they kind of use their whole hand to point at something. It's weird, but I understand why it's like that. The game it's an old game, and it catered to portable systems at the time, or the PS Vita. So, you know, I get why it looks the way it does, but yeah. At the end of the day, I think that everything's gonna be fine for this game. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. The game is gonna die. Woe is me. Oh shit, let me stop playing. Like, no, just enjoy the game. You know, we're in a bit of a low period in terms of players right now, but I guarantee you, when episode 6 comes, especially, that's gonna change, and it's gonna change even more when we get New Genesis. So yeah, enjoy PSO2.